What is a divination? Part 2. So, I wanted to do a part 2 because a friend of mine had questions. And so I realized that there was a better way that I could put this together. As well as you see, I've attached a book by one of my Kareems. And a Kareem in the tradition of the Gara and the Gomba is a teacher. So Kareem Suhudu has been a beautiful, instrumental, integral aspect to our healing for me, my sister, and my family. She has been a beautiful representation of what it's like to live and work and embody your purpose, your medicine. And she has been very selfless in the way that she has been able to provide insight and healing solutions for me, my sister. So I wanted to share something that she expounded upon when it comes to knowing our ancestry. And I'm also going to share my response to a friend of mine that asked me for further clarity on divination. So here's what I said. A divination has names in different traditions. I study the Dagara and Dagomba tradition of Burkina Faso and Tamale, Ghana. So a divination from these two traditions is when a diviner, spiritual elder, chief, priest, or priestess can communicate with your ancestors and your spiritual bloodline to tell you about your purpose in this lifetime. So it is used to identify all the blockages you experience and why. And so they know the things you have never told anyone before because your ancestors and spirit guides are speaking through the diviner. They answer all questions within the time allotted and within what your ancestors want to share with you as to not overwhelm you. And in the end, the diviner gives you what is translated as a prescription, which entails guidelines and assistance to begin healing and the restoration within your life. So remember, the difference between a reading and a divination is that a reading can see into some aspects of yourself. However, the reader is incapable of giving you a tangible solution that can bring healing in your life from the roots of your challenges. So from the roots of your challenges, really meaning at the level of your bloodline, where things within your family just don't make sense and there's cyclical generational traumas that keep repeating, that we keep passing down to one another, and then we wonder why our family members are showing up as all these ways that we want to label as being symptomatic and etc. So Kareem Suhudu had posted on her Facebook page Finding Ori March 10th. I'm going to put the links below as usual. She said, knowing your ancestry, ancestral history, and culture is so important, especially in this day and age of cultural overlap and movement. It is deeper than your race, it is your blood, and when the culture around you does not fit with your nature, you will forever feel alien to the land you were born in. Not only is it important to speak the language of your ancestors, but to surround yourself with the sounds, music, rhythms, and timing of your people. This allows you to become whole and complete within yourself. As the lost children of this era, the Black diaspora must seek to find ourselves again. The mixing of cultures without the context of understanding of self is what causes mental and physical disease in our communities world over. Returning to our culture is simply bigger than learning some magical tricks and lighting candles. It is about becoming whole and complete and balanced with our own vibration. For those of us have strong lineages from opposing cultures, it is more important than ever to learn the culture of all of our peoples and work within ourselves to create a harmonious balance between them. We must feed all sides of our story, and if one was neglected for a long time, then you need to feed the side that both sides can become equal and balanced within us. We cannot renounce our history. Instead, we must embrace the good, the bad, the beautiful, and ugly sides, and then make a choice to nourish the good from all of these. To make a choice to go against all odds, find commonalities, and work from there so that your ancestor will forever not be at odds with one another. In ancestral terms, this means to honor your ancestral spirits in accordance with the practices of each. Learn about their deities, their gods and goddesses, and begin to honor those in accordance with their practices. If you have European ancestry, study Wicca, Druid, Sami, Norse, Hellenist, Slavic practices. Those with East Asian past honor your Hindu, Buddhist, and Shinto Taoist beliefs. Those with Pacific ancestry honor those ancestral practices, and those with strong African lineage begin to learn the ancestral practices of your ancestors. There is no use in appropriating the ancestral practices of a culture that does not run strong in your blood. No matter how attractive they look to you, in fact, it may be more harm than good. Instead, appreciate them and respect them. Wink at them knowingly so as to say, I see you and your ancestry, and then return to your own. And if you do not know it, then begin to research it for it by picking up any practice that connects with you and your ancestors in a way that you will be able to find out who you are, your ancestry is. In the case of African traditions, it begins with a divination from a spiritual elder or chief or priestess to tell you if the specific spirits of a practice and culture align with your ancestry. When you reach a point where you own your ancestral practice and it is strong, then you can go ahead and build on that and add other practices into your bloodline if you so choose. But if the foundation is not strong, building a heavy house of spirits on top of a weak foundation will eventually break the foundation completely and the house will come crashing down. It is clear to me that my spirits wanted two houses because there are two houses. And if you are struggling with your spiritual practice, whatever it may be, taking a deep look at who your ancestors are may answer you in the same way. And if that is the case, you have been entrusted the heavy task of uniting what was never united and healing what was never whole to bridge the gap between spirits and ancestors, and who would have never come together in the past to create a space in which you may coexist, so content that their bloodline is becoming whole and complete once more. So hashtag just thoughts, Kali, and Finding Nori is where you can get that information. So as you know, I'm going to place below where you can find Finding Nori, and it was just my thoughts to give a little bit more clarity on the importance of maintaining and returning to one's bloodline, especially for those of us who are being misdiagnosed, especially for those of us who have a strong inclination, a strong desire to want to connect to your roots and to your bloodline. For those of us who feel like our grandparents or people that we love have transitioned and you feel that they're beckoning and they're calling to you, if you feel strongly that there's something that you're supposed to do in connection to bringing your genes, bringing your cellular DNA, your blood, activating your bloodline together, then you have to understand that this is where it comes. So when we talk about Black people, and we're talking about Black people in the context of our skin color, you have to understand that it's deeper than your skin color. It goes into the blood, your bloodline, your cellular aspect of who you are. It's so much deeper. And within the depths of that is what we pass down from generation to generation. These are the traumas. These are the madness. These are the things that we're talking about. And so if you do your research, you will realize that some people that have all of these mixes of things within them, they're battling to decide which one do they choose, how do they choose. And so this is a very clear representation from someone who embodies the different types of aspects of cultures. And as she was mentioning, she has the two houses in terms of the altar, in terms of her veneration and how she speaks to and how she gets into commune and fellowship with her people, her ancestors. So this is what it looks like when you're returning to your traditions. There's a way in which you can build that relationship and how you can have a connection to them so that you can begin to mend and to heal and restore the things that are happening. Because as you know, I've shared that there are aspects of your bloodline, your people who are attempting to communicate with you, and that's why you're having difficulties, because you're not listening to them or you're unable to hear them. So it's through doing this work that you'll be able to hear and receive those messages. And for those, again, you know that I'm speaking about this in the context of our traditions that supersede the new age thought and religions and faiths that say that these kinds of things are evil. You know that your ancestors, your people, are not evil, and that you are your ancestors and we are our ancestors. So within that knowledge, you know that you have to set the tone and the foundation for the world and the family and the society in which you're about to return into. So if there's anything that I said here that resounds, you know, to subscribe, like, share, and comment, and hit the notification bell, as they say, so you can know what's happening and when it's happening. And powerful beings, you know, embrace your nature. It has the roots to heal you.